We're halfway through 2024, and what does the sneaker landscape look like? What are some of the best drops? And what are some of the things that people are talking about? We're going to get into that this time on Fire Footwear. Welcome back to Fire Footwear, everybody. As always, I'm your host, Matt Freites. I want to welcome you if this is the first time to this channel. And if it's not, I want to thank you for always supporting this channel. We are halfway through 2024, and that means we have 6 months worth of sneaker releases to look at. I know that a lot of people throughout the year try to label a sneaker the sneaker of the year right away. And while I'm not one of those people, I do think that it's fun to go back and look at what we've done so far and think about putting it in context as to what's coming up. We're only halfway done, but that doesn't mean there isn't something that hasn't released for everybody. So what are some of the hottest shoes that have released this year? I think no doubt Soleil Bembury is having a great year. And yes, many of the releases have come prior to 2024 in the name of Crocs, but this new Croc Juniper shoe, which looks like an actual Croc shoe, the guava colorway, is really, really fire. Soleil Bembury is really changing the game as it relates to this specific kind of shoe. Crocs were already kind of in with Hypebeast to begin with, but I think this is taking it to a new level. It's putting a new interpretation, an artistic interpretation on something that people have seen as sort of mundane, as sort of an everyday shoe. And I think that that's really, really neat. Even if I'm not a huge Crocs guy, I can see the vision, and to me, that's really, really awesome. Kanye West made the news, and I did an episode about that in the audio space, but why has he made the news? Well, he's made the news because Adidas has restocked a bunch of Yeezys. Early in June, we saw almost an entire week full of Yeezy restocks, some at which were 50% off. A lot of iconic colorways, a lot of not so iconic colorways, but the whole point was we had a little bit of a resurgence when it came to Yeezys. People had a little bit of nostalgia when it came to Yeezys, and I think that's a really cool thing. Even though I felt that they should have been discounted, and even though I feel like Yeezy has set sail already, it was still nice to relive and rekindle a little bit of the past. So I think that Yeezys made a huge impact there, and a lot of people who didn't have Yeezys were able to get them, and this might be their last opportunity. Of course, Kobe's keep releasing in 2024, and we've seen a mix of old and new colorways. I'm looking at the Philadelphia, the 76ers colorway. We had the Girl Dad release recently, and to be honest with you, I'm a little bit confused in how I feel about Kobe's in general, because I'm not somebody who lived through that era, and I don't see the appeal for me personally.
What you talking about, Willis?
I do see the appeal as it relates to some of the most iconic colorways like the Grinches and the Bruce Lees and the What Thes. But in terms of the hype now, even after Kobe Bryant has left this earth, I don't necessarily see it, but I think sneaker culture does. I do wonder what the legacy of Kobe's will be in 2025, 2026, and beyond if we see a lot of these more mid colorways that I think are coming out. But Kobe's no doubt are stealing the hearts of sneakerheads everywhere. Keeping in line with basketball shoes, the KD4 seems to be having a slight resurgence in 2024, and we've seen some of the most iconic colorways of that shoe already released. I'm talking about the Galaxies, I'm talking about the Weathermans, and we definitely have the Nerfs coming later in 2024. And a lot of people feel a way about KD4s. Again, I wasn't part of the culture then. I could not wear them today, but Kevin Durant is on the downturn of his career, but his sneaker line sparks a lot of nostalgia and a lot of feelings within sneaker culture, so it's kind of neat to see a resurgence there. And his teammate, Devin Booker, finally came out with his signature shoe, the Book 1. Although I think that the Book 1 has been mired a little bit by controversy because the most hyped and most wanted colorway, the Orange Phoenix Suns colorway, only released in Florida, which was a really strange decision. There have been other colorways that have come out. To me, this shoe looks very comfortable. It looks like an Air Force One, and one of these days I am going to cop a Book 1. Devin Booker, in my opinion, doesn't move the needle, but he is somebody that obviously moves the needle in terms of sneakers because all of these have sold out, and I think they're going to continue to sell out when he comes out with them, unless, of course, they oversaturate the market, which is what Nike wants to do a lot of times. And of course, when you talk about basketball shoes, Air Jordans are the king in the basketball world. And this year, to me, OG colorways of the Jordan 4 have had a little bit of a moment in early 2024. Back in February, we had the reimagined Bread 4s, which I think were better than the originals. Don't get me wrong, I love the originals, but I thought the execution of these was perfect. And then, of course, we had the reemergence of the military force. It's been a long time. I thought the execution was pretty good. I was very happy that they were easy to cop. To me, they're a must-have if you're a Jordan 4 person, and so we're getting a little bit of OG Jordan 4 love, and I kind of love that. To me, one of the most underrated collabs of this year so far was the undefeated collab with the Nike Terrahumara. I absolutely love that shoe. I have the white and brown colorway. There was also a black on black. There was a teal. There was an olive. Everything for everybody when it came to that collaboration. To me, it's a shoe that isn't really on a lot of people's radar. It's a hiking shoe, of course, but I got them. The materials are great. The execution is great. And honestly, they're super, super comfortable. And they are now a staple in my rotation in 2024. So to me, that's a sleeper for collaboration of the year.
Stop it. Get some help.
Speaking of collaborations, the Nike Field General is having a moment because Union is going to be releasing their collaboration of the Nike Field General. So far this year, the Nike Field General has come back, and I think a lot of people right now are learning what that shoe was back in the day. To me, it's not a shoe that I could wear. I know a lot of people think that Nike is trying to combat the Adidas Samba. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But in my opinion, if you see the Nike Field General, you think it's fire from Union, I want you to go research what the shoe actually was, because I think this is a moment where you can learn just a little bit about the history of this particular shoe.
That belongs in a museum.
And of course, we have Trophy Room. Now, Trophy Room is a little bit controversial in 2024, but their Jordan 1 Low rookie card colorway obviously sold out. I have questions about Trophy Room and whether they've sold out a little bit, but honestly, you can't deny that they're hype. You can't deny that people want them. And so this was a shoe that definitely moved the needle. Travis Scott is no stranger to Jordan brand. And this year, instead of just doing Jordan 1s, which he has done, we saw the Jordan Jumpman Jack, and that was a brand new model from Travis Scott. I see a lot of similarities with the Yeezy 2, but hey, what do I know? Everybody bought them. There's going to be a ton of colorways, I'm sure. They moved the needle because Travis Scott still does move the needle in 24, but it was nice to see a diversion from the usual stuff that we see from Travis. And last but not least, how can we not talk about Anthony Edwards, the AE1? To me, this is the most talked about shoe of 2024. There have been a ton of releases, of course, and Anthony Edwards did not make the NBA Finals, but he certainly moved the needle in the NBA, and so many people love the AE1. They only came out with the high top so far, rumored that they're going to come out with the low top in 2025, but it was an instant hit. I do wonder what's going to happen next year if he has a little bit of a slow start, but so far so good for the AE1. To me, this has been a really, really great start to the year, and I think we have a lot to look forward to in 2024, but I would love to know what you like so far this year and what you're looking forward to in 24. Let me know down in the comments. Please leave me a voicemail and give me a sneaker story. I may use it on a future episode of the podcast, and you can find that number below in the pinned comment. And of course, Instagram at Fire Footwear Pod if you want to connect with me there. Hope this finds everybody well. Hope this finds everybody safe, and I will talk to you next time. This is Fire Footwear.